Hello and welcome to Dover, week number 4 of the Speedzone Esports series. Dover International Speedway. I have my co-commentator, Alex, in the booth with me. Alex, how you doing?
Good evening, ladies and gents. We're back for another one.
We are back for another. We're closing up practice right now. We got Robert top of the board with Nathaniel Swartz, Mazzella, Frady, your top 5. As everybody's kind of finishing up their laps, getting their last test in. We took the KO5 YouTube channel test car around the racetrack. Alex ended up driving it. So, Alex, take us through how this Xfinity car is driving around Dover tonight.
You know, I'm going to be totally honest with you. It's not a very fun experience, but I also think that'll make for maybe a good race because I think a lot of these guys are going to have to try harder tonight to get the car to stay on the track and at least going forward because it is a little bit of loose off the exit of 2. If you get it wrong, you're into the wall, and that left side wall on the inside is not great to hit. So it can be very loose if you get the exits wrong. Later in the long run, it starts to plow mid-corner. So I think we're going to see a lot of guys try to take care of their tires, but I think we're going to see some guys possibly be aggressive if they just don't care for the tires.
Yeah, we know Dover, one of the more abrasive tracks on the schedule, being the concrete mile. But one thing you do have to look out as well, it is known as a self-cleaning racetrack. So when somebody gets in the outside wall, most of the time they're going to hit the inside wall as well, and it kind of clears the track. Everybody goes to the bottom, but if you wreck, you're going to end up hitting both walls more than likely. So these guys are going to have to be on their feet tonight and be ready for it because it is going to be one to watch as everybody is starting to head out for qualifying, and it is getting underway. See Scarabo pulling out of the pits right now. Norris, Suppland, first Chase, Peters. We can ride on board with Lilith here. Winner at Iowa. Went to Watkins again last week. Of course, I wasn't here, which I apologize for, but still did broadcast it. But winner at Iowa, race number 2, Lilith here. You want to, let's ride on board with her. And, yeah, let's take us through here, this qualifying lap.
All right, well, you're going to come to the start-finish line here. More than likely, you're going to want to take the bottom here, as we can see Lilith doing that exact thing. You want to hug that bottom line. Try not to hit the apron, though, because it can cause you to be a little bit loose. Try not to ride up and hit the wall either. Very easy to slide up there as you stay to the outside and arc it down into the bottom again. Going to be a very bottom-heavy hugging racetrack today. You might see some guys go towards the top, as here we see Lilith Peters finish up their first lap, and it's going to be 23.693, top of the board so far. Not many guys qualifying so far yet, as it is still the beginning of qualifying, but not a bad lap to start.
Yeah, down the back straightaway, see Lilith go into the corner. Top of the board still at the moment, ahead of King Jr., Scarabo, and a lot of guys that are going out right now. We got Tiller, Frady leaving the pits right now. Norris, Randy's on the racetrack. Right on board with Randy here as he comes off the corner. Got the chopper cam tonight, and then a new cam with the drone cam to kind of follow. So we have one of the best. Wyatt Garrett's long-lost cousin brother is the pilot for it. So good drone pilot we hired for the rest of the season, hopefully. See Randy here as Robert puts her top of the board. Coming off of 4. Looks like a pretty decent lap there for Randy. Puts him tied on the board for the pole. But King Jr. is going to get it at the moment. Matt, first lap. One of the best on the short tracks to mile-and-a-half ratio. Matt, not the first qualifying lap. P11. About 10th and a half down. Can he improve to go even better? He does. Top of the board for Matt Frady. And is on provisional pole. With 2 minutes left in qualifying, though, we have a sponsor for tonight's race. Streets Closed Pizza Boy 125 is what this race is obviously called. Thank you to, where is he at on the Let me find him real quick. Give him a shout out. Why can't I find him? Because this thing... Where's he at, damn it? I can't find... Anyway, Jonathan Mozella, sponsor of this race. Pizza Boy. Sponsored this one, so we want to give him a big shout out as he is 10th on the board. So good little lap for him, and yeah, you know, thank you to him for giving us that. Let's kind of rewind actually here. Let's go back and see. Yeah, thank you, Mozella, for sponsoring tonight's race, which makes it good for everybody. A little bit better on the viewing and everything like that. As you know, it looks a little bit more official with a sponsor there. So, thank you for it. Street Clothes Pizza Boy 125 at Dover. Watch his qualifying lap. He put our P10 on the board. So, Mozella never really the fastest qualifier, but always at the end of the race shows up and is there. So, this kind of fits how he races a lot of the time. Kind of lurks in the shadows, and then by the end, he shows up and is there by the end of it. But right now, the only car left on track is Jake in this number 30 machine. Will he get his lap?
I do just want to point out, Cade, while we're rounding off qualifying here, we are going to have an absolute massive field tonight. And this is making me a little bit more glad that I did not run this race, because we're going to be 40 cars strong tonight.
40 cars for tonight's race at Dover. Not Daytona, not Talladega, Dover we got 40 cars, let alone if we go to a bigger track. We've been getting a lot of cars and people registered into it. So that wraps up qualifying. I think it was Nathaniel possibly got the pole. He did. He set a fast lap there at the end. Go ahead, give us our rundown, Alex.
Yeah, let's start it off early. We're going to have Nathaniel Landwehr taking a pole right next to Matt Frady. Both of these guys setting down some blistering lap times. King Jr. and Randy Arms setting the same exact lap time, rounding out the second row. Great for the both of them to qualify so far up front. Moving on, Kyle Ritchie in P5. Lilith Peters setting down the initial provisional pole lap in P6. Moving down to Josh Gosselin and Kevin Ritchie down in P7 and P8. Solid times for them. Nice to see them towards the front. Then James Hodgson and Cade Ferguson rounding out the top 10 here. Then moving on to tonight's sponsor, Jonathan Mozella down in P11. Not a bad spot for him. And Michael Davis right behind him in 12th, with Jonathan Schwartz and Casey Brown rounding out row number 7. As we continue to move farther down, we're going to move on to Josh Thaxton and Randy Sample down in 15th and 16th. Moving forward for Tony Scarborough and Fred Chase down in 17th and 18th. Then moving on to round out the top 20, it's going to be Kyle Shelton and Jared Hoey. God, only halfway there. As we move on to 21st and 22nd, it's going to be Landon Quisenberry and Luis Rios. A lot of new names tonight in the field as we move on to the 57 of Austin Norris and Austin Wingard. The Austins rounding out row 12. Then we continue with Jake Niparis and James Goodwin down at 25th and 26th. We're going to keep going. We're almost there, folks. Ryan Tiller and Parker Supplin down at 27th and 28th. Oof. As I believe most of the field is gridded up now. We're going to move on to Jeremy Flanagan and Travis Burris down in 29th and 30th. Andrew C. Bruce and Adrian Williams taking the 31st and 32nd position. And coming down to the last of the qualifiers, Jake Pittengorio and Michael Cochrane in 33rd and 34th as the field will start to take the track. As we move on to the non-qualifiers, Casey Herring and Eric Shields. Then you can ignore my name there. It says I'm in the race, but we're going to completely ignore it. And then Brendan Schermersheim starting on the outside of me, technically. Then we're going to move on to Lucas Alves and Wyatt Garrett, riding out 38th and 39th. Then taking the last position is Christopher Armstrong. Did not set a qualifying lap, obviously. Big field tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Big field tonight. Big opportunities for race number 4. pace car lights are out. I believe we're going green this time by, and we will. Pace car pulls down pit road. Race number 4. Streets closed. Pizza Boy 125 at Dover is green. Off of turn number 2, looks like the high side had the advantage there. Matt with a better restart. He's able to clear down the back straightaway into 3 and 4 and take over the lead from Nathaniel.
Yeah, absolutely massive field coming down into turn here. Saw a lot of guys get loose on the inside of turn 1, so something to look out for as they continue to progress through the stint. We'll see how tires start to affect a lot of these guys as we go through the run.
Yeah, and everybody's going to learn in these early laps how the car is going to drive, and when they get tires, it's totally going to change as these guys get to running. Caution, or the stage, like all season long, is random between 30 and 40 this week. So at any point, whenever Barney the flag guy decides to throw it, Barney is Wyatt's other cousin, sister, and so brother, sister, friend. So whenever it decides to throw it, yeah, there will be the caution for the stage. So as the tires start to put down rubber on this racetrack, it's going to start to tighten up. And as loose as it is right now, if it is that loose, it's going to tighten up the more and more laps we run, especially after the restart.
Yeah, and we've seen it the last couple of weeks, especially with this new random stage caution rule. It's added a little bit of extra strategy for some of these guys. Obviously, you don't know when the caution is going to come out. You just have that range. So sometimes we've seen a couple of people gamble and hit right before they think the stage comes out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We'll see if some of these guys decide to play a little bit riskier strategy tonight as we go through the race. Not sure if it'll be super worth it, considering it is a short track, and if you mess up, you could lose a lot of time on the field.
Yeah, green flag pit stops are going to be interesting to see how they play out. We have about a 50-55 lap fuel run tonight, so there's opportunity for it, but the chances of that seeing it is obviously there. As caution 1 comes out on the night, we'll go back and have to take a look at it. Let's see what happened back here. Oh, down the back straightaway. Looks like the 23 car. Hold on, if it shows and stops changing people here. Right in front of Jeremy Flanagan. It switches damn things again. Now running on board with Tiller. So he gets up in the wall, then into... That was the 72, I believe. Into the back of him of Jeremy Flanagan. Just nowhere for him to go. Tries to avoid it and get out of the way quickly, but Tiller hard in the inside wall. And that will bring out caution number 1 of the night.
Yeah, just a little bit of a mistake there by Ryan Tiller, washing up to the outside wall. Like I said earlier during qualifying or in practice, that there's a really good chance that you can slide up into that outside wall and bounce right off. Either you just go head first into the inside wall, or you're going to take somebody else with you, just like we saw there with Jeremy Flanagan. Unfortunately, nowhere he could go, thankfully limiting his damage.
Yeah, a lot of drivers opted to come down pit road there and either possibly get tires, a fuel strategy call, as we said. You kind of can go whenever, but a lot of cars on pit road at the moment. So interesting to see that. You see Tiller coming down pit road. Actually, doesn't look like he has that much damage, which is kind of interesting there. But everybody else coming out of pit road here now. So already caution number 1 of the night on lap 7 that time. Matt still with the lead. We saw Nathaniel Landwehr all over the back bumper of Matt before that caution came out. Robert had the pressure on, and then just behind them, Randy's there. Kyle, kind of the top 5 that we expect week in and week out. And we have some of the newcomers. Obviously, Iowa winner. Lilith Peters right there. Then you have Swartz back here. A lot of cars that either didn't have the best qualifying or that started up front are slowly working their way through the field more and more as we get going here.
Yeah, Yeah, it's another fun thing I've noticed the last couple of weeks. We've been starting to get a good amount of people here. Like I said, absolutely massive field tonight with almost 40 cars taking the start of the race. Um, yeah, it's nice to see a lot of people starting to show up, and especially like I said, for a short track of all places, you know, it's not a super speedway or a drafting track that usually we'd get more people in, but it's nice to see a lot of people show support and show up for even the slightly more intense races.
Yeah. And we're seeing the choose cone there, something different with this league. Speedzone Esports this season implemented a choose cone rule, which spices up a lot of different racetracks, and I really like that rule a lot. Obviously, they do it in real life, and I feel like a lot of time the drivers in iRacing and that we have in the league are smarter than the ones in real life. So I feel like it's pretty easy to transfer over. But yeah, see the choose cone there. That's going to be interesting to see these restarts. We see Matt pick the outside there.
Yeah, we'll see how it affects them on the restart here. We'll see whether or not these guys will start to spin their tires and get a little bit loose. Coming to the green flag here as we round out 3 and 4.
Yep, coming to the green is going to be Matt and Nathaniel to lead them back to it. Pace car makes the hard left-hand turn down as we roll back into the restart zone. Back green. Matt with a big restart once again gets clear by a little while, actually, by a few cars into turn number 1. Oh, Nathaniel actually got a really good good corner through it. Gonna have a good run on corner exit. Riding on with the drone cam as they're gonna go side by side right in front of Randy Arms. Robert to the inside of Randy, and Nathaniel moves to the lead on lap 11. See Randy and Kyle Ritchie there on the inside, trying to make that work. Doesn't look like it. And as we get later in this race and the cars start to tighten up, I think we'll see a lot of drivers move up the racetrack just a little bit and kind of drive down it. But as loose as it is, the top lane is already moving, which I did not expect. But it seems to have that momentum, and because the cars are loose, they're able to rotate as Robert's going to try to go to the outside of Matt Frady, which actually was a great move in turn 1 to the outside and clears. Runs that middle lane. Great move there by Robert. He's going to have a go at Nathaniel down the front straightaway.
Yeah, that's another move I noted in practice that once the grooves start to come in, you can make moves on the top side as long as you don't wash out to the outside wall. You can make moves in either groove, which is nice to see. I know you mentioned before that there are starting to migrate up top, so we'll see how it affects them later in the runs once we continue to lay rubber down, especially in that top lane. That'll be one to look out for sure.
Well, caution is out. As I was going to say, this was Mazzella looking on the outside line, trying to make something happen there. But caution is out once again. Let's go and try to find it here. Pace car is booking it off of pit road. I do not know where it's at.
That's with the 22 of Luis Rios. Oof.
22. Let's see.
Oh my goodness.
Where was it at? Off 2?
Off of 2 on the backstretch. Yep.
Nope. Damn thing. I want to change something up next week. Don't worry. I got it. Don't worry about it. What is wrong with this thing? Damn. We're just gonna hit play. I don't know if I'm even gonna be able to find it, or if it will. I was gonna
say it's towards the back of the field, unfortunately.
They're not coming up. I have all the cars drawn. It's just seriously not coming up. So sorry. I guess we're not gonna look at that one.
I'll give him a little bit of an explanation. Well, unfortunately, like you said, not able to see it, but just a mistake by Luis Rios. Once again, somebody getting caught out by the extra, by that outside wall there. Hits it, comes back down hard into the inside wall. It's probably day over for him, unfortunately. Takes Andrew Bruce with him as some collateral, and he flips upside down and slides a little bit down the backstretch as he rights himself back up. Is still in pit lane for some pretty major damage. More than likely, chances of any good finish not going to happen tonight, unfortunately, for those two.
Yeah, you see Lewis in the pits now having problems. See the damage on the front end. Unfortunate night to to end it. Obviously, one of the biggest fields that we have ever had in Speedzone Esports history, and already problems. Obviously, Dover, one of the hardest tracks I think on the server, catching people out early. So about halfway till when the caution could come out. So at any moment, we'll see if these guys come down pit road as the choose cone happens. Drivers are choosing now. A lot of drivers picking the outside line, which is big at this racetrack as we've seen so far. But Nathaniel picks that bottom lane. Robert to the outside, and Matt follows to the bottom. So Matt picks the lane that the leader is in. Alex, what do you think about that call all night? If you're the guy running third, second picks next to him, do you pick the preferred lane, which right now seems to be the outside, or do you pick with the leader to fire first?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. If I'm anybody behind, I think the top is where you want to be on restart, because like I said before, once the rubber starts getting in, you will be able to make moves on the top side. So if you can get a good run off the restart, I'd rather be up there to try to make a move on the outside of turn one when the green flag drops.
I agree with you, and we'll see how the rubber gets laid down, and possibly, because these cars aren't driving the best right now, if that rubber does get laid down, does it make the bottom to where it drives really good? So you just want to wrap the bottom. Who knows? But coming back to the restart on lap 16, we are back green. Nathaniel with a big restart. I think we just got our answer to our question there. Matt able to get clear of Robert in the center, but not able to. But he was able to fire first. Robert's going to fight back on the outside line. He should be clear into 3, and he does.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, Robert not getting a great restart right off the jump, just seems to mistimed it. But when he did get into the corner, he got such a great run back on Matt Freddy that he was able to get back around. If he was any bit closer to Nathaniel Landwehr, I honestly think he would have had a shot going to turn 1 there.
Yeah, and I think if Matt was able to get up there, we see a bigger challenge. But I think Matt's being pretty conservative, kind of running that Randy Arms approach to it, kind of saving the tires and not going to run too aggressive with it. And whatever happens, happens. If the leaders are able to pull away and drive away on the worst tires, he's okay with that as long as he doesn't end up burning them up.
Yeah, speaking of Randy Arms, league owner and also current championship leader right now after Watkins Glen. So, yeah, his luck seemingly turning around. Don't want to bring any curses or anything on top of him, but his luck has seemed to change since last year. So we'll see if he can continue to make a push for some top 3s, top 2s, maybe some wins this year to continue his championship fight.
Yeah. See this big gaggle of cars back here. This is for the top 20. Few new guys, Fred Chase, Randy Sample there. Randy's got a nice paint scheme. Randy Sample there in the 24 on the outside line. Like that paint scheme. A lot of battles throughout the field, though, so far, as we see Cade Ferguson on the outside in the battle with... This thing is switching around and pissing me off. See Cade Ferguson side by side once again with Mazzella fighting for that top 10 position. Just behind him is going to be Gosselin. Can he do anything to try to get underneath Cade? It looks like he's going to have an attempt at it. Here's Josh Thaxton just a little bit behind them. See a few cars actually going to the top lane. Mazzella goes to the outside, going to have the big run down the hill. And you see how much it pays off against Cade as he runs the bottom. Let's see if he does it again. Not going to. Same thing in front of Kevin Ritchie. That is Robert and Kyle Ritchie battling there. Kyle able to clear.
So yeah, while you're going through that top 5 just now, Cabe, I just wanted to point out that Robert King did have some issues just 2 laps ago. Ran into the outside wall coming off of 2, scraped it pretty hard. Not sure how much damage he has. Maybe some right side suspension damage, maybe some steering damage, but something to look out for as we go through the race. And he seems to be losing some spots for him too.
Yeah, not what you want to have happen at Dover, as aero sensitive as these race cars are, and as bad as this car's driving right now with no rubber on the racetrack. You want to keep as much advantage as you can, but any little bit mistake could cost you it pretty big here. As we see this big gaggle of cars, there's Swartz in the middle of it, Cage right there, Goslin, Kevin Ritchie, Hodgson, Thaxton. Oh, big contact down the back straightaway to the bottom. Caution comes back out. Swartz was involved. A lot of drivers involved. That was Hodgkinson, Ferguson. Oh, we got that one there. Let's go back and take a look at her here. Talk us through it here, Alex.
Oh man, well, going into the corner here, Schwartz looks like he gets a decent run, but unfortunately just 25 comes up just a little bit, cuts Schwartz's nose, and from there it's just chaos as bounce off the wall, just starts collecting cars left, right, and center. Big damage for a couple of the cars down there, especially the 25 with that left front. And yeah, good wreck avoidance by some of these guys, but unfortunately some of them not able to stay out of the chaos, as we'll probably see a couple of these guys come down pit road. Yeah, as you see there, Josh Thaxton just collecting the 80 car there of Hodgson. Very unfortunate to see some unfortunate, just innocent bystanders for that wreck.
Yeah, not what you wanted to see happen from these guys, as everybody kind of gets it figured out and back to pit road. But man, there is a lot of things going on and problems early in this one, as obviously the caution has not come out yet for the stage. This will not be the stage, luckily, so that is something that is good and not going to have happen. But with that being said, a lot of cars come down pit road to get their problems fixed.
Yeah, I did also see a good amount of people coming down pit road as well. I'm not sure if my eyes were just deceiving me or if those were mostly just the guys involved in the wreck, but I did see a couple cars come down. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not this is just for tires, or whether it's, I know some of these guys is for damage, but whether it's for tires, because we are coming up on that stage window. Yeah, I see a lot of guys down at pit road at the moment. We are coming up on the stage, like Cabe mentioned. I don't know if it's a smart idea to pit at this point for tires, especially since we're so close. You're within 10, 13 laps of the stage. I think for a lot of these guys, they're probably just going to stay out, and well, should stay out. And yeah, we'll see how it works out for those guys who pit a little bit early.
Yeah, we're going to see the choose cone here, I believe. See, Nathaniel goes to the bottom, Matt to the top, Randy to the bottom, Kyle top, bottom, kind of everybody alternate. See 2 cars go to the top, 3 to the top. Austin Wingard just gained a few good spots in that 45. As everybody's getting their choose cones ready and set up for this one. The field's going to get back on green. As soon as we go green, it could be a 1-lap dash for the stage, or it could be a 11-lap run to the stage because of that random yellow. So we're going to have to see how aggressive that these guys get. Are they going to try to save that last 10 laps? Have Nathaniel burned off the tires, or has Matt and Randy been able to save them? We saw a few cars pit that was running up front, obviously. So a little bit of a mix-up there as Robert kind of dropped back now, and he pitted. So we'll see if they're able to get back up there, possibly get stage points inside the top 10. The pace car lights are out. Getting ready to come back to the restart zone. Seen second not be able to get a good restart all night long. Is Matt able to change that? Back into the restart zone. Nathaniel fires back green. Big tire spin from Matt Frady there. Not a good restart for him. That let Randy get to his inside. It's going to be a battle for second off of turn number 2.
See here once again, Randy Arms trying to make a move down to the inside of Matt Frady. No, not a great restart at all, unfortunately for him, as we see Nathaniel Landwehr starting to pull away, making his statement on so far on the race, trying to capture himself another or any stage win. Not sure if he's won any this year, but so far making his case to be the stage winner for this race, as Matt Frady trying to hold off Randy Arms. Still is Kyle Ritchie slowly lurking behind with the other Ritchie brother, Kevin Ritchie. Jonathan Mazzella there hanging back just a little bit. We'll see if these guys can start to move to the field. Tires at this point are more than likely pretty much, they're not doing too great for some of these guys, I wouldn't assume. Oh,
problems
caution.
entering turn number 1. Big problems. Everybody's going to scatter or pile into it. A lot of cars are involved on the front straightaway into turn number 1. major problems on the front straightaway involving Casey Brown and Austin Wingard. Let's see what happened here. Alex, take us through it.
All right, as we can see here, just oh, it looks like some netcode contact there. Unfortunately, between the two cars, the 88 just getting sent straight into the inside wall, and the 45 coming right up the track with him. Just unfortunate for a lot of these
See
guys.
the
More innocent
17
bystanders just
involved.
getting taken out as we see Casey Herring getting involved, almost keeping it straight, but
There's the
nowhere for a
72
lot of these
involved.
guys to
Jeremy's
go.
involved in it. Robert, was he able to make it through this? Robert makes it through with no... Whoa, that was close.
I don't know if that's Robert, sir.
That was right here.
What? Oh, down over there? Oh, yeah, there we go.
That was Robert.
There's the man himself. Let's see. Let's watch it from his POV real quick. Okay? Let's see how he gets through it.
Riding on board with Robert, he's maneuvers his way through this big wreck into one. Whoa! That was a little close.
I'd get myself a lottery ticket after that one. What a save by him to make it through there pretty much unscathed. That's going to be great for him as he'll more than likely be towards the top 10, top 15. So maybe we'll see some stage points out of him as we see pretty much the entire field pit now as we are already on lap 33. So we'll see whether or not this will be the stage. It might be more than likely considering we already are so far in. And close to lap 40, but we will keep you updated.
Yeah, not sure if that was the stage. It depends on race control on what they wanted to do, but a lot of drivers did pit that time, and a lot are behind the pace car now. So at this moment, it looks like if these drivers that stayed out are good, then this could be pretty big to flip the field. But Robert obviously had those problems, came down pit road, got some damage fixed, and was... a little bit of luck maybe and a good amount of skill to make it through that one and kind of shoot the gap and avoid the big wreck. But that was very dangerous. That could have been major problems for him if he wasn't able to avoid it, and that could have knocked him out of the race. You know, that's one thing that drivers are going to have to look out for is if you go to the back to take these tires, like, well, we're seeing it now. Mazzella, Kyle Ritchie, Randy Arms, Thaxton. A lot of these drivers have to be careful when going to the back because if a wreck happens in front of you, you could be involved in it.
Yeah, exactly. That's another big risk here. You take them tires, and here's the thing. Is it really worth taking tires half the time if you are going to be stuck in the back of the field? Because you're just going to end up using them trying to get past the field anyways. So we'll see how a lot of guys decide to navigate this. Most of the field pitting there. Bar a couple of cars, I believe, like Josh Gossman and Lilith Peters. I do not believe they pit and took tires or anything. So, yeah, see how it goes for them as they head towards 3 and 4 with the pace car lights off.
Yeah, on these old tires, we saw Matt kind of spin them that last time by. Who you want? Let's ride on board for this restart. You want to ride on board with Nathaniel or Matt? Obviously, the first two on tires. What do you think? You
Let's do Nathaniel. He's got a lot of speed, so
All right.
we'll see how it works out for him with these freshies.
Right on board from the helmet cam with Nathaniel. See how he tries to make it to the field. That was not the stage from what I understand. So there's still an opportunity of it. As we close into the restart zone, RPMs rev up. Gosselin fires, back green. Nathaniel pretty patient.
Oh, as we got a big wreck on the front stretch.
Well, I missed that one. Major problems on the restart. That's Mazzella involved in it. We see Kevin Ritchie, Casey Davis. Let's see what happened here from the chopper cam. The drone cam here. The 87 just didn't get going, and it stacked up the whole outside line, and that's what we were talking about on the old tires, is making sure everybody gets running, because if you don't, that's going to cause big problems, and we've seen it now on the front straightaway. The 87 didn't get going, stacked up the entire field, and nowhere for any of these drivers to go as they piled in like pinball machines, and our cameras were not in a good spot for it. Oh, Case, the 5 there, almost upside down. Casey Herring's in it. James Goodwin. A lot of drivers that you like to see run up front have good nights. as are involved in this one.
Yeah, that's going to be heavy damage for a lot of the second half of the field. Actually, I should say 3/4 of the field, considering that happened towards the top 5, top 6, I believe. Yeah, going to be a lot of damage. We'll see how many people come to pit road now. Yeah, there's a big old group coming down right now. So we'll see whether or not. I'm sure a lot of these guys are just going to be here for damage. No tires. Continuing so far, we are on lap 37, so we are nearing the end of that stage break. I do believe this will be staged, if I remember correctly, from another race. At this point, we will have. It would have been the stage. I'm pretty sure it will be. I will keep posted. Nobody else is saying anything to me, so we'll see. But more than likely will be the stage, because by the time we go green, it will be lap 40 anyways. So, if we are going to count this as the stage, it would be Josh Goslin for the stage win, with Lilith Peters and Robert King rounding out the top 3 there for them.
Good comeback if that worked out how we think it does for Robert. Obviously, had the problems, came to pit road, avoided the big wreck, and then just avoided the big one on the front straightaway. Reminiscence of, what was it, 2017? Truex or Johnson missed a shift and stacked up the whole field into turn 1. Similar thing happened here, and as we saw, seems to be safe to kind of run that outside line if they do have an incident. Ooh, everybody darts one way. Nathaniel, I was going to say, should probably pick the top here. The 3 in front of him went to the bottom, so it's going to jumble up the field a little bit, but should get back going green with 87 laps to go. So don't know what lap these drivers pitted on. The 3 up front. We know what happened that last time by. But pretty similar situation at the moment. We see the 87. Adrian Williams, who didn't have a good restart and was on the old tires. He's in that same spot that he was in before that incident. So gonna have to watch out for the wheel spin. And with this concrete track, it definitely is a big problem. As hot as it is, though. Back for the restart. Here we go. Flag is waiting. Goslin fires back green. A little bit cleaner there from what it was. Cade Ferguson dives to the inside line. There goes Mazzella to try to shoot the middle. This could be big right here. Everybody's going to try to just get out of the way and avoid it. We're going to be 3 wide. Some people. Davis on the inside. And everybody's trying to make it through. I'm going to stick right here for a minute. Running on board with Shelton on the outside of Michael Davis. Able to make through. So, at the point, we're seeing Lilith Peters side by side with Nathaniel. Nathaniel trying to make his moves to get back up front. Josh Goslin trying to hold off Robert here at the start of the final run of the race. How long can he do it to hold off Robert? And then how many laps until Nathaniel Landwehr gets there? Because if he does, like we've seen it early, once he takes away and gets that point, it's going to be hard to go get him. So these drivers are going to have to drive as hard as they can at the moment. Josh, even at Iowa, did something very similar. Had a lot of speed in it and just didn't have the tires for the end. I'm right on that. And what? I think it was Josh, wasn't it? Very strong run.
I actually think it was Robert King.
It was Robert. Never mind. It was Robert. He pulled away. Yes.
Yeah, because he was one of the new guys we saw and just didn't have the speed at the end with those very high-running tires at Iowa.
Oh, very similar situation kind of with Josh. Not pulling away, but holding off some of the best in the league to do it. Pretty good top 5 behind him, or 5 cars behind him. Race winners and champions of this series. Robert trying to set up that pass, just isn't able to do it. Let's ride on board with him and see how he's going to set up this pass. Let's say that. Let's check. All right. So, if you were in Robert's situation, what would you be thinking, and how would you try to set up this pass here, Alex?
You know, at this point, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I try to stick it around the outside of 1 and 2. Like I said earlier in practice, if you're on the slightly fresher side of the tires, you can make the outside work in 1 and 2. So I like where you can go there. It's not a bad spot. If you can somehow get on the inside on the exit of 3 or 4, you can make that move work as well, but you just have to be there. If not, it's going to be a little tough to pass, even with the slightly fresher tires. So we'll see here as Robert King right now is looking to peek on the outside. Maybe he'll try to pull off the crossover if he can get a good run. Just nothing coming to him. Josh Gosselin still staying there and holding firm as Robert King starts to peek on the outside a little bit in the 3 and 4 here, trying to just show his nose and Gosselin's mirrors and just make him know that he is there and we're trying to make a move.
Well, I think he heard you there. He's trying that outside line, just hasn't gotten it to work. He's going to have a little bit of a run, and they make contact hard to the outside wall. Robert King's in it. Randy Arms is involved. Big problems for the drivers at the front of the field. Robert King, right front, is knocked out. And Robert King is going to be out of the race. Wow.
I'm going to be totally honest with you, Cabe. That was a wheel disconnect from Josh Gosselin.
Problems and race. Obviously race implications, but could be championship implications there for Robert. And after Josh having such a good run, let's ride on board with him and see that wheel. Oh, yeah. You see it go straight, and then we have to censor it. Since it was such a hard hit, got to make sure the drivers are okay first. But see, it looks like just, yep. You can see, look at the left front on Josh's car here from Robert. It just going, and it snaps. Definitely big problems there. Nowhere for Robert to go in the outside wall. Man, what a hit. What a bad situation for Robert to be in. Alex, you may have cursed him there.
I was just going to say, as like you said, he might have heard me before, just try to use the outside line. Oh, very unfortunate there. Like I said, it looked like just either a wheel disconnect or really, really bad network failure there. I did see he did drop from the session. So, going to be a DNF tonight. Very unfortunate end to his race, as he, like you said, was holding off a lot of the field. So, and yeah, unfortunate for Robert King as well, just not having the luck he wanted tonight. As you see Nathaniel Landwehr resuming his lead.
Yeah, and Josh was having a great run there. Obviously out front and some of the best in the series. Robert trying to run him down, and Nathaniel was kind of just sitting there waiting, not really pushing it, but show you guys the schedule on the screen now. Next week at Indy, wouldn't say the opposite racetrack to this one, but there's some characteristics to Indy that Dover has, so the drivers that are fast this week could be pretty quick next week. With as much as it is kind of momentum based here at Dover, that is same thing as Indy because it's such a big racetrack. Dover's in a way similar to Darlington in that way of kind of momentum and keeping the speed up as much as you can. So next few weeks, pretty similar racetracks. As big choose there, as Nathaniel kind of faked low. Lilith picked on the outside, then Matt decided to go low. Kyle followed. And a big change up with the choose count there.
Yeah, very interesting to see it. We've seen Nathaniel just take the inside every single time. He gets himself a great launch, but at this point he might have figured out that, I'm going to be honest with you, it looks like he just gets such a good run off the restart that it doesn't matter where he starts. So I think he's just would rather be on the outside anyways. That way he can get to the bottom of the corner sooner once he arcs it in into turn 1 here. So we'll see if Frady can get a decent jump. Doesn't look like he's been able to get that good of a jump the last couple of restarts, especially even being right on the outside or the inside.
Yeah, and we've seen it a lot of the time where at very few racetracks it works, but the outside here, because it is a mile and concrete and momentum based, you may not get the initial corner entry, but corner exit is big here on these restarts, and it helps big in the city cars here at Dover. As we come back for the restart zone, it's going to be 75 laps to go here for race number 4 at Dover. Nathaniel fires back green. So one driver going to pull the inside, try to stay out of the way. Let's see who that was, but big restart for Nathaniel once again. Lilith picks the outside, was second on the choose, comes off of turn 2 in second as well. We're going to be 3 wide, a little bit further back in the field with a big jumble of cars. See Michael Davis here in the 5 trying to work his way through it. Just behind them, there's Kyle Ritchie. Ooh. Everybody's getting pretty close. Let's ride on board with Kevin Ritchie. We'll let the front guys, battle that out. They kind of get single file. This is where the real action is here. Alex, in Kevin's situation, what are you thinking here?
I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm Kevin, I'm my pants are brown as he's going to try to make a move on the inside here. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of drivers with some brown pants tonight, including him. I know he's been involved in some stuff tonight as he gets a little bit loose off the exit at 4 there. Yeah, if I'm him, I try to, try not to be super aggressive. We've seen some over-aggression cause some mistakes tonight for some of these guys. So if I'm him, don't make too many aggressive moves and just try to slowly and methodically make your way to the field. Pull a Scott Dixon and, just slowly make your way up there. You'll see how that works out for him.
Well, I think we were seeing him okay with brown pants and maybe a little yellow spots in the front too, because he was making some big moves down to the bottom 3 wide and everything. Let's move back up to the front of the field. You see Lilith trying to run down Nathaniel, but there's a pretty big gap in between them all. So it's Nathaniel, Lilith, Matt, and then this 24 machine. There's Randy Sample, moved himself into the top 5 after the last few restarts. And here comes that 24 machine.
Yeah, one of the newer faces in the league. Nice to see some new people up in the front. As like you said, Lilith Peters' new name in the series, Randy Sample, Jared Hoey, Adrian Williams up in the 11th here, up almost 20 spots from where he started. Yeah, so we're seeing some newcomers starting to fight with the leaders. Nice to see here, as like you mentioned before, Nathaniel Lane, we're starting to pull out just a little bit as a lot of the top 10 are starting to single file out. I think we're getting to that stage of the race where it's just going to be, ride it out and try not to cause too much chaos like it's been the first half.
Yeah, we see Hoey right here, newcomer to the league. Pretty good. Not the highest I rating, but we've seen it. That's the one thing that is awesome. And I mentioned too about at Iowa, the drivers that have lower I rating learn more in league races. And a lot of drivers just run league races and don't even mess with the official ones, as there is one car stopped on the inside line, hopefully not going to be a yellow, or was trying to come to pit road that time by. But yeah, like Hoey here, 1.2 or 3K I-rated driver. Yeah, running in solidly in the top 5 or in the top 10 for a race that I'm assuming the SOF is over 2,500 with all the drivers that we have in it.
Yeah, very competitive field here, as we've seen it get even more competitive throughout the last couple of seasons that we've been doing this. Like I said, like I said before, very nice to see a lot of the competitiveness here. Is yeah, a lot of movement throughout the field. I should say I'm surprised to see this much movement, but there has been a good amount of chaos to the point where the entire field is pretty much mixed up from where everybody started.
Yeah, and I think that's something that is different with this league is the variety in the field. See Cade up the racetrack, losing a lot of spots, possibly having problems here for Cade. He's up the racetrack, kind of letting everybody drive underneath him. So I don't know if he has damage or what, but I feel like everybody in this field at this point probably has a little bit of damage, other than the guys maybe in the top 5. But ooh, a little bit of racing up in front of them. That's between Tiller and Fred Chase. Able to make it through. Now we got the battle for Swartz trying to make his way back to the field. A lap down. Swartz in 22nd, but trying to unlap himself. Will be the lucky dog for the next caution. That's what he's trying to do. But the top 5 cars have kind of pulled away from Mazzella. Mazzella trying to run him down. Then we have Hoey, Thaxton. Hoey gets on the wall just a little bit. Jared Hoey there. No harm, no foul though.
Yeah, just as you mentioned before, it's gonna be quite hard to find any cars in the field without a little scratch or scuff on them. Because yeah, you can see here, there's just Great example. Jared Hoey running in the 7th position. Not been involved in a lot of trouble tonight, but those little mistakes can start to catch up to you. As you see, more than likely, he's probably got a little bit of a scratch there, so he's going to get crossed over by Josh Staxton for the 7th position.
Big crossover from Josh there. Drives up the hill. Able to clear Hoey in the center. And we'll take the position off of turn 2, so move Josh Thaxton into the 7th spot. Great move by him. Kind of saw that one lining up, and we saw it kind of run that outside line, drive back down the hill, and over. One of the more obviously unique tracks on the schedule and in the series, but really the only track that you can compare to a roller coaster. I think it's 3 or 4 stories drop from the straightaway to the center of the corner. So when you go into the corner, it loads a lot of the car, has a little bit more grip than what you'd expect. You can kind of drive down that, use the gravity and the forces pushing you into the track, and kind of drive back down the hill, even though you're kind of coming up the hill and down it at the same time. You're able to get a big run from the guys on the bottom, and we just saw it there from Josh, executed perfectly to make that pass.
Yeah, and just like a roller coaster, it's also very bumpy. Throughout the last couple of years, both in real life and in iRacing, you see a lot of guys get caught out by those bumps, especially off the exit of 2. It's very easy to just get the back end of the car a little bit light if you go over the wrong bump, and it'll just whip itself right around if you catch it on the wrong spot. Dover, not a very forgiving track at all, unfortunately.
Saw Lilith Peters get a little tight there, had to kind of check up on corner exit. That allowed Matt to get a little bit of a bigger run than you'd like. Matt moves into P2. Lilith just follows in behind him. And here is what Nathaniel Landwehr is looking in front of him. Lappers galore for Nathaniel.
Yeah, gonna be interesting to see how he navigates traffic. Another thing to mention too, like I said, it's such a short track that there is going to be a time when you get to the long green flag lines where the traffic is going to be a bit of trouble for some of these guys, I think. You can see here Nathaniel Landwehr just having a dive, dip, dodge, and weave through everybody as he's going to go on the inside of James Goodwin with a hood missing, unfortunately. And we'll see here. We'll see how well everybody else behind him can navigate through the traffic. Going to be a little trickier for them as they are going through traffic and racing at the same time for the 2nd spot. So we'll see if they can navigate it well enough, and we'll see if Nathaniel Landwehr can take advantage of it.
Yeah, you saw Ferguson get in the wall, see Nathaniel in the white and blue car on the bottom, just a few cars up in front, but riding on board with Sample, trying to get to the outside of Lilith. There, kind of has a little bit of run, but with James in front of him, where does he go here? This is the battle for 2nd. James can try to stay out of the way, but the battle for 2nd is on, trying to get by lappers, and Nathaniel is able to get through this heavy traffic here for the moment. Is he going to try to drive down the hill? I was going to say, if they get a big enough run on Austin, they might be 3 into 3. And if he gets a big enough run, he might go 4 on it. But he's going to be smart. Matt tries to back out of it. Here we go. This is where it can get big. 3 wide with lappers. Matt checked up to try to get a good run, try to survive. Oh, almost more contact there, but they're able to make it through once again. Lap traffic's making this race very interesting and shaking up this field a lot.
Yeah, it seems to be that they're almost like moving chicanes, as lappers like to be referred to in a lot of different series, both in motorsports in general and in NASCAR. Yeah, moving chicanes are where a lot of these guys are going to have to deal with. We see even farther back through the field with Kyle Ritchie and Jonathan Mazzella having to gather themselves and keep themselves composed as they start to go through lap traffic as well.
Nathaniel's kind of 3 wide in the middle. That could have been big for your leader to get wiped out. We saw it happen once this race. It could have happened again, but Michael Davis getting tight and pretty much 3 wide in the middle, but able to avoid it there. But we're seeing a lot of drivers have to come through this field. We saw Matt Frady, he was in 2nd, got by Lilith, caught the lappers, and look where he's at now. Dropped 2 spots, gave up those 2 spots to the, 2 cars in front of him, the 1 and 24, with more lappers in front. So the lappers are really, obviously they're racing for positions and their points and all that because the playoffs. Top 10 make it. It's not a very long season, as we talked about, but to make it, you got to be consistent and run up front. So these drivers are looking for all the points that they can to make it into those playoffs, and that's what's going to be needed to have happen. As Samples to the outside, gets the outside wall. Lilith has to check up. That checks Up a lot, but able to avoid it. That was a big, I guess you'd call it a big butt pucker moment, as I think we're seeing that from a lot of drivers, as Kevin Harvick or Roddy Childress said at that one time, butt pucker moment.
Yeah, it's very tricky. You never want to see that inside wall, especially if you're looking at it head on. Definitely don't want to see that here, especially when you come off the two. Been talking about it all race. It's that dreaded bump. The you get on the throttle just a little bit too early, and you're facing backwards and facing the rest of the field in the opposite direction. So, yeah, as we can see here, the field is starting to spread a little bit because of the traffic. Third is still in a close battle. As we're more than likely coming up on possible fuel stops here soon. I'm not sure what everybody would have pit by now, but I think within the next 10 to 15 laps, we may see some guys come in. Maybe not even just for fuel, but also tires as well. They are only limited to 4 sets. It depends on how many some people have taken so far. It could only be 1, could be 2 at this point with how many sets that people have burned through. But we'll see here as we get farther into the race. About actually way over halfway through now, as we focus on Jonathan Mazzella making his way through traffic, trying to get his way through the field.
Yeah, Mazzella, solid top 5 running. Qualified just outside the top 10 in 11th, but made his way up through the field a little bit. And is doing a good job of navigating the traffic, kind of following Lilith and Matt through it, but has caught them, as we saw him more than about a second and a half back at the start of this run before lappers, and he's caught a lot since then. So Jonathan done a great job so far catching it, but the battle is still on for that now 3rd spot as Samples kind of pulled away. Lilith all over the back bumper, and Matt still trying to make the moves to have that spot again for the podium.
Yeah, and we'll see here how this battle decides to work itself out. It also could be a battle of who gets to pit road first, because that's going to be a big thing. If you're going to be the first guy on the pit road, you're more than likely going to take a couple other guys with you as well. Especially with how much tires do matter. You don't really want to be on the older tires for that much longer than everybody else is. You could see fall off is definitely starting to affect everybody. As of right now, Nathaniel Landwehr has lapped all the way up to 13th. With only 12 people on the lead lap so far, and he's continuing to run down everybody as he's pulled almost a 4-second gap to Randy Sample. So he right now is in a prime position for pit stops, where he will more than likely won't have to worry about anybody else catching him.
He is about a tenth to a tenth and a bit better than everybody else in the field at the moment, which is crazy to think about. Randy Arms to pit road that time by on pit road, so Randy could be one of the first drivers to pit and commit to it. We'll see how that works out. You see Nathaniel on the front straightaway there. He comes off of pit, or comes by him on pit road. So Randy wasn't running, the greatest, but was inside the top 10 before the pit stop. So we'll see how much time he gains or how long Nathaniel stays out here for.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if everybody can also get onto pit road the cleanest as well. This is one of the toughest tracks on iRacing to get into pit road for, because it's such a weird angle and you got to find the right time to slow down, but make sure you don't bring yourself back up into the track and get in everybody else's way while you're trying to get on the pit road. So we'll see, especially with the green flag. Obviously caution, it's a caution pit stop. It's not really going to make much of a difference, but the green flag pit stops is where you can make or break your race.
Yeah, and we see here Lilith able to get around Frady and take over that 3rd spot. Mazzilla's kind of climbed into it. Now Kyle Ritchie is just behind them, kind of closing as well. James Goodwin trying to move his spot and get by there. Ooh, that was Shelton, was it? No? Hoey was sideways and almost lost it. Great save from Jared Hoey on the front straightaway, though. Able to keep it underneath him. But Nathaniel doing a great job still out front. You want to drag him in here and have him coach us for a lap? Kind of fun.
Yeah, sure. I will say this, though. I believe he may or may not be pitting soon, if I heard him correctly on the radio. So
I was wondering
we'll wait
that.
till after he's done with his pit stop. I don't know. He's starting to navigate to the top. That car does not look fun to drive. Let's give him a couple laps just in case, because it does sound like he's going to start.
I was trying to do it a little bit early, but I didn't want to do it too early and kind of possibly him come to pit road this time. But let's get off of his helmet cam and let him run his laps, and then we'll come back. We'll come back, have our pit stops, and see if we can have him talk us through a few laps here. But Randy, we're seeing on the new tires, right on board with him for a minute here. See how much time he gains on the few cars in front of him after the pit stops. He's got big damage. That thing is not driving good at all anymore.
Yeah,
He's got new tires, but the right front or something. Yeah, I think a lot of drivers do. But he's obviously got new tires, but he is turning left on the straightaway, and if you're turning left on the straightaway, you have bigger problems than old tires. So obviously Randy's been involved in something. Only 2 laps down though, actually doing a good job so far. You know, kind of surviving this deal as Mazzella's trying to stay out of the way of Randy, but set up the pass on Matt. And Randy says, "Excuse me, boys, I'm just going to drive around you both on the outside line."
Yeah, another thing to think about as well is we're with only 38 laps to go right now. We're nearing the end of this race, so more than likely you can make it to the end on one more stop, whether it's fuel or tires, because these guys have been going for quite a while now since our last caution. As we see Kyle Ritchie right now going through 3 and 4, fresh off of his pit stop, that he more than likely will not have to take another one. And that'll be the same case for more than likely everybody else as well. But what point do you say pit and try not to lose that much time? Because if you're a guy on old tires and you got a guy running you down, is it going to be worth staying out as long as you think it would be?
Yeah, and we're seeing that now. Kyle, like you just said, came off of pit road just a few laps ago with 40 laps left in the race. These drivers are all waiting even longer to come down pit road. So how much time does Kyle end up gaining on Nathaniel, Matt, Mazzella, Lilith? They were all inside the top 5. Kyle was inside the top 5 before pit stops. Same thing with Randy Arms, I believe, or was close to it. And we'll just see how it shakes out after all the pit stops. But that's one thing that we're going to have to look out for with how Kyle ends up running here.
Yeah, and also another thing too is while it has, you know, obviously I don't want to bring out another curse, but we have been green for so many laps now, and Nathaniel Langwer has he's put everybody up to 7th lap down now. So if we got another caution, that's going to put a lot of people in a really bad position. And there's a lot of guys that are even 2 laps down. Kyle Ritchie being the first one, 14th, 2 laps down. So we'll see how it works out. If we were to get another caution, as I say that, he's going to use those fresh tires to make a move on the inside of Landwehr to get at least one of his laps back.
And that's one thing that is hard for Dover as a racetrack. Kyle able to unlap himself once, but because it's such a fast racetrack and only a mile long, he's still a lap down. So if the caution comes out, it is a big opportunity for Nathaniel still, as we're seeing him pull away big from Nathaniel here. And if you're in Nathaniel's, he gets in the outside wall, Randy drives by him. But if you're in this situation with Nathaniel, obviously you're the leader. You know that you're one of the fastest, but you're being driven away by everybody else as everybody else is coming to pit road. Matt Frady is pitted. Everybody else is on pit road at the moment or leaving pit road. See Mazzella there on the inside line. Lilith as well. There goes your leader, Nathaniel Landwehr. The only car left on the lead lap. So, how many laps does he wait? Nope, he's coming to pit road now. Oh, and almost tire barreled it. He possibly sped. Did he speed?
Yes, he did.
He sped on pit road, entering Nathaniel Landwehr. Had the race pretty much on lock, but speeds on pit road. That is going to cost him. That'll be a 40-second hold on pit road or a drive-through penalty, so that should move, I think, Kyle Ritchie into the lead because of pit stops. He's ahead of Mazzella, even though he's on older tires. Same thing with Lilith. Kyle's here. Randy's just behind. Never mind. This could change. This changes everything.
Yeah, with Kyle being one of the first guys on pit road outside of Randy Arms, it's going to be interesting to see if those tires are going to hold up and if he can hold up some of the guys that are behind him. This has changed the race. Unfortunate for Nathaniel Landwehr. Not the first time we've seen it, unfortunately, if I remember correctly, but yeah, very big race-changing play there by Nathaniel Landwehr. So
trying to be aggressive. Oh! That was a teammate trying to be aggressive into pit road, and you know, he definitely was, but it cost him at this moment. Should be 3 laps and probably knocked out of the race unless he's getting very lucky at the end of it. But this race has gone from a few cautions early, which mixed up a few strategies, to everybody's getting involved in something, and the differing tire strategies. We see Kyle on a different lap than Randy, Lilith on better tires than both of them. Oh, Kyle almost wasn't clear there, but the tire strategy is one stopped on the apron. He resets. They're 3 wide behind him. Randy's going to rip the wall. What is happening with this tire? Kevin Ritchie in the door of Randy. What is going on this race? Dover's putting on a show?
Yeah, and all it takes is that one interesting move, and it shakes up literally everything. And like I said before, it's hard to tell what strategy everybody's on. And now as Lilith Peters is going to make a move on the inside of Kyle Ritchie. This could be for the race lead.
Well, even in front of him, here's Sample, who pitted a few laps before Kyle, I think, or around the same time. Right now, he would be the lead after pit stops, after Tiller, Thaxton, and Swartz pit. But if you're in their situations, I say that you just stay out. If you're in Swartz's situation, Tiller's situation, why not run until you're out of gas? Because at this point, what do you got to lose? If you're going to lose, might as well lose on your own terms and just have to pit and hope for that yellow. Because as crazy it is now and the differing speeds of all the drivers, I say go for it.
I don't know. It's going to be very interesting as Tiller, they're starting to that top 3 is starting to lose a lot of time, almost a second a lap. There's still 26 laps to go till the end of this race, so it's going to be very interesting to see whether they can make it or if it's just worth it to pit at this point. So if they do, who knows where they'll come out at this point.
Ooh, Sample's in the outside wall there. Discipline. You got to be disciplined. He knows that he's on the older tires and doesn't have the tires to go beat Lilith, but to salvage your night to finish on the side of the top 5, he's got to be on his mind and kind of get points if he is trying to go for the rest of the season and make the playoffs. But Lilith in heavy traffic now. There's Swartz on the older tires, but that is 4 position in front of him. But, yeah, like I said before, that could have been big. Here goes Mazzella trying to make something happen. Mazzella, the guy who sponsored the race, is trying to make moves to win the race that he sponsored. And he's to the inside of Sample into turn number 1.
Yeah, I was just going to say, look out for the pizza man starting to make moves. Those fresher tires starting to look like they're going to work out just a little bit better as he's going to have to try to go almost 3 wide to try to pass Randy Sample here. You got to get past him quick. If not, you're going to let Lilith Peters just run and run. The laps are ticking down. Mazzella has to make a move.
Well, here comes Matt Brady as well. He's on best tires, I think, than anybody inside this top 5. Does he have a chance to run any of them down? Tiller, though, you can see the speed in the center of the corner, how slow Tiller is on these way older tires compared to Kyle Ritchie and a few of the guys that are trying to make their way through traffic. As look at this battle. What is happening here at Dover? This is a battle for what could be the lead as Lilith is kind of pulling away. But they're in a battle. Holy crap. What a race Dover is putting on. Thaxton trying to hold off everybody because he's still in P2 and hoping for a yellow. Lilith going to drive to the inside, going to be to the inside of Thaxton, but they are 7 seconds back from Tiller with 21 laps to go. Tiller is not able to make it on fuel unless he has saved enough fuel magically, but he is losing half a second a lap now.
Yeah, the only thing that can save him right now is that yellow flag, and it's oh my goodness!
And he gets it!
Oh my god!
He gets the caution. Where was it at? The caution comes out, and that could possibly... That hurts a lot of drivers, but also helps a lot of drivers. And we don't know what it helps, who does what is even happening. Dover on a green flag run has turned into one of the best races I've ever seen.
Yeah, all of a sudden, like I said, that one race-altering move
right here
can change literally everything. Oh, it was Brandon Sermersheen.
There's Austin Wingard here. No. Where's the... trying to find it here, sorry. For some reason I can't just, click and have numbers just set to where I want the number at. And it changes every 2 minutes. Alright, I'm trying to get to it. At this point, might as well just go to the damn pit stops.
Yeah, speaking of which, it looks like everybody's coming down pit road. If you have an extra set of tires, this is going to be when you want to pit. You more than likely don't need fuel at this point. Maybe for Tiller, just a little bit of a top off, but you will have the tires now. This is going to be really interesting, especially because there are still a lot of people a lap down. Nathaniel Landwehr is only a lap down.
So Lilith is going to win the race off of pit road. Wins the race off of pit road. Here comes everybody else. Give me the 72, 41, 19, 40, 76, or 24, 76. Got it there. Then Swartz, Michael, and everybody else off of pit road. So we're not going to be able to know until we get to the front straightaway and go one to go on who's where, because these are all going to be wave rounds. Cade Ferguson, Kyle Ritchie, or Kevin Ritchie here, who's actually 12th, so could have just pitted in a weird window to where he was on pit road and only a lap down, so he could be actually the leader at the moment. I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, it looks like I said, Nathaniel Landwehr, I think he will be the lucky dog this lap. I don't know if anybody else has gone around yet, but if I am correct, it would be Nathaniel Landwehr to come back onto the lead lap.
Yeah, there was a lot that happened here. Is Choose Cone there?
Actually, we're going to have a lot of guys come around.
Yeah, that was about half the field. All right, well, it's going to be Lilith lining up in the lead. Similar situation to Iowa. Was in the lead and had to hold off the rest of the field. But there's a newcomer in the 15. No, I guess not. Maybe. Okay. Well, we saw Lilith do it at Iowa. Had to hold off Jonathan Mazzella, who's going to be starting right behind them in that 41 machine. But was able to do it once. Can that one machine do it again and hold off some of the veterans in the series like Kyle Ritchie, Jonathan Swartz, and Jonathan Mazzella just behind him? Pace car pulls off. It's going to be a restart with 17 laps to go. Peter fires. We're back green. Good restart there. Able to clear into turn number 1. Also, a guy to look out for. There's Tiller in the green car. That first one on the bottom, now third on the bottom. After pit stops, haven't had the best race, but after the tires and pit stops, moved him into the big spot. It's going to be Swartz into the second spot now. Kyle Ritchie gets put back there. What are you seeing so far, Alex? Talk to me. Who do you think's got a chance to run down Lilith?
Oh, I don't know. I see Lilith all over the place right now. The last 2 laps not having the most stable looking race car. Even on the fresh tires, you see Jonathan Schwartz is starting to make a move. We'll see whether or not they can catch. Ooh, is Jonathan Schwartz is going to get a little bit loose. Manages to keep it straight. But right now it is just the 1 and the 58 battling for the lead. A little bit of a gap forming behind. We'll see if Kyle Ritchie can join the party if these two keep racing. As of now, though, Lilith Peters able to hold off Jonathan Schwartz. Schwartz is going to make a move on the inside. We'll see if he can get the run. Doesn't look like it for now, as Peters is going to cross back down below to block him.
Swartz had a look there, just didn't have a big enough run to do it. He's doing that same thing that we saw earlier as Lilith's way sideways on the bottom. Jonathan's going to have a big run on corner exit, though. Not going to be able to block it this time. Way better position into turn number 3. Can he fill the slide job? Doesn't look like it. But we're seeing everything here at Dover. Battle for the lead, battle for second just behind him. And Swartz with an opportunity to take the lead here with 13 laps to go. Gonna wash up the racetrack. Slide job. Can Lilith cross over? Kinda. A little bit of a run. Swartz is gonna throw the block. Into 3. With them racing with this, Mazzella just got clear for 3rd. Can he run both of them back down? They are racing hard for the lead and the win here at Dover. Lilith clears once again, held off Swartz with a big crossover. With 12 to go. Is there enough in the tires to keep that 58 behind him? Oh, gonna get to the rear bumper. This could loosen up Peters or tighten. Actually just hurt Schwartz more. Something you don't see, especially in the Xfinity cars, is aero sensitive as you can kind of play with the car in front of them and mess up the car in front of you and get them loose or tight. I'm shocked that didn't do more to the back of Peters.
Yeah, as of now, it looks like they've calmed down just a little bit in terms of trying to make moves, just trying to set it down a little bit. Schwartz maybe eyeing his next move, trying to figure out when he can make the pass on Lilith Peters. We saw him take advantage before of Lilith Peters just sliding on the apron just a little bit too much on the entry of one, and it just washed them up a little bit too much, and we saw Schwartz take advantage, but not able to keep the lead as he's got a little bit of run going into turn one. Let's see if he eyes the inside here, if he's going to try to get a run off the exit of the corner here. And behind, so far, it looks like the gap is stable. It is just these two out front right now.
And as these two are kind of trying to set up the pass, we see Schwartz back up the racetrack. That is the perfect move to set it up. We saw it all earlier, but I think Lilith, it's going to be hard to hold off that hard charging 58. We've seen most of this season, the first 3 or 4 races, or the first 3 races of the season, Schwartz has not had the best start to a season that you'd want. Bad luck at Daytona. Bad luck the last few weeks, but in a prime position to try to win his first race of the season at Dover. Lilith has already got a win. Looking to the inside now. Opportunities almost side by side for the lead once again.
Yeah, it looks like he's starting to turn the aggression up just a little bit. Now he's going to try to make his move with only 7 to go on the board. Peters is going to slide up just a little bit, able to avoid contact with the wall as Schwartz still trying to get himself a good run. He's going to look towards the top here, try and cross over on the bottom maybe to arc the corner and get a good run. As no, Lilith Peters just going to extend the lead a little bit as Jonathan Schwartz just can't get the run.
See, and then just behind them as they kind of get stretched out, Mazzella, Thaxton, Frady, they're all kind of in the same spot as Schwartz. Really not able to gain, but not much going on. See a few cars back here. The field's kind of spread out, though. Everybody's kind of got a racing buddy, but other than that, not much has taken over, as almost problems with a lapper just in front there. But Lilith doing a great job with 5 laps to go to hold off one of the best in the league. Did it at Iowa, can they do it again here at Dover? See, and that's what I was talking about, Alex. We know on the new tires that these cars are a handful, but as the rubber got laid down later in the restarts on new tires, the track seemed to be pretty, like the first 2 or 3 laps was hard and it made it great. But then once the tire kind of got a little bit of heat in it, as obviously we got the rubber in it now, the cars look to be tight. So that could be a big problem for Schwartz as he's really struggling. Not much that he can do even about it. Got way sideways. That's going to lose him time. Now half a second behind Peters, your leader.
Yeah, only a couple more laps till what's his name? Barney already waves that checkered flag for Lilith Peters. All they got to do, 3 more laps. Ideally, 2 if maybe a caution were to come out to end the race, but as of now, they are looking to take the lead. Schwartz just probably used up all his stuff and unfortunately may not have another push, as he might even lose the second position to Jonathan Mazzella as he's starting to catch that rear bumper. Oh, as Lilith Peters slides and hits the wall a little bit on the exit of turn 4.
And Mazzella trying to set up a pass late in the going, though. Can he have an opportunity? Obviously, down the back stretch, Lilith feeling the pressure, but done such a great job all race long to kind of hold him off. As you can see the battle, Jonathan's all the way up the racetrack. It's the battle between the Jonathans, but the white flag is in the air for Lilith Peters. Done a great job all race. Kind of just been lurking. Didn't see much until after the pit stops. Came down pit road. And kind of deja vu that we saw at Iowa. Was able to take the lead early or late in a late race restart. Hold off one of the best. And for the first time this season, we're going to see a multi-time winner. Lilith Peter comes off of turn number 4 to win at Dover. What a race, Alex. Holy
yeah,
crap.
what a little bit of a chaotic first half of the race, but man, once that unfortunate mistake from Nathaniel Landwehr, just, oh my goodness, just pure racing. A lot of guys being aggressive, but also respectful. Yeah, what a show the second half of that race was. Yes, congratulations to Lilith Peters on taking the win. for tonight's, I believe I don't even remember the name of the sponsor. I just know it was Mazzella's sponsor, but we got a pizza sponsor tonight.
Streets closed Pizza Boy
There
125.
we
Lilith
go.
Peters wins. As Lilith's gonna burn her down on pit road. Let's go ahead and get a talking to Lilith here. All right, Alex, take her away.
Lilith Peters, welcome to the booth. You got a copy,
Hi.
Lilith?
Hi.
Oh, welcome to the booth again. Nice to see you again. Taking a win in Iowa and now being the first multi-time winner this year for Speedzone Esports League. How did you do it tonight? How did you pull off such a great win at Dover?
I think just a combination of liking this track, good strategy, and luck. I was on 2 tires at the end there, and the thing was possessed. I'm kind of surprised I won.
Yeah, we saw a lot of tire strategy come into play here. Obviously, we saw a pretty chaotic first half of the race. How did you manage to get through all of those like first 3 or 4 cautions unscathed?
I was up at the front for most of them, except for one where somebody died right in front of me, so I think just luck.
Well, well, you said that you were on 2 tires at the end, which I'm kind of shocked about, but I know kind of works. But with about 18 or 15 laps to go, what was your play? Was that how you were able to get the lead, and you knew if you didn't, it was going to be hard to pass once you guys got running, or what was kind of the call there to take 2?
I was already in the lead, but I assumed somebody else would. So I guess I was the only one on 2 tires, but I made it work, I guess.
Well, it worked out great then. Once you got the lead, there was no looking back, and kind of like Kevin Harvick-wise, the closer, I guess, kind of middle race, slowly work your way up there, and then by the end of it, you're up front and holding off some of the best. So congratulations there, Lilith. Go ahead and give your shout-outs or say who you want to thank.
Thanks to you guys for broadcasting this, and thanks to Ryan for inviting me, and thanks Jeremy for being my teammate, even though he sucked today.
Well, always shouting up to teammates, which is cool. But Lilith, congratulations on your 2nd win of the season.
Good night.
There with Lilith getting a word in as coming home P2. Jonathan Swartz was almost had it and had to battle a teammate there at the end, but was in the lead with less than 10 laps to go, just wasn't able to get it. Alex?
Jonathan Schwartz, my man, taking home a pretty nice solid P2 tonight. Unfortunately, not able to catch the leader. Putting on a valiant effort, though, one that anybody can appreciate. Thoughts on the race, my man, and how'd you put it up there in 2nd tonight?
After the start of this race, being involved in an early wreck, I would have never thought I would have got the 2nd. So, played some strategy there. Stayed out. I only used 1 set of tires the whole race.
Oh.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
I stayed out that whole 100-some lap run before that last caution. But
cool.
yeah, I got lucky with a good yellow, and then I had some speed at the end, so it was good to be up there. I wish I didn't spend as much time behind Lilith as I did, because I burned up my stuff. But
yeah, we saw you
it is
there.
what it is. I'll take a second.
Yeah, we saw you there at the end, having yourself a great battle with Lilith. We saw you, trying to figure out what moves you were going to make. Just from I was able to get some laps in earlier to see what the track was going to be like, and just trying to call how you guys were able to make moves. And it looked like you were able to have some success at first, but it looks like just as soon as you burn up those tires, it's kind of over. But clearly, you were able to make it work for 100 laps. Kind of surprising to hear. That was going to be another question of mine: is what was the tire strategy like? We saw a lot of guys struggle, and how did you make it work for 100 laps?
I mean, I was a lap down the whole race, so I was just trying to get my lap back best I could, waiting for the leaders to pit. So I'm glad it worked out with a good yellow. I think the track cooled down mid-race, and that helped a lot. So yeah, and then we just had that little short burst in the end, and I was happy to bring it home in a good, solid position. So I haven't done that this season, so it's been a rough start.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, unfortunately, not the best of luck for the start of the season, but sometimes that's just how it is. You have a little bit of a rough start, but it's not about how you start; it's how you finish and how you continue to go through the season. So, yeah, like I said, congrats again on a second place, another crazy race to be honest with you. So, what are your expectations going next weekend at Indy?
I'm pretty solid there. So if it's hot and slick, I'll be good. If it's cold and whatever, I'll probably suck. But we'll see, and try to get another top 5 out of it.
All right, well, good to hear. We'll see you next week at Indy. Before we let you go here, we'll let you go ahead and get any thanks in, any shout outs you want to get in before we let you go.
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for putting on a great broadcast for us, and the Sweeker Grill. They've been a long time partner, and also the Cleaning Authority. So they help out a lot. So thanks, guys.
No problem,
Thank
my
you,
man.
Schwartz.
Congratulations again.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thanks.
Jonathan Schwartz coming home P2. Had a late charge, took the lead, just wasn't able to get it. But the man himself, the sponsor of a nice race, the guy who I thought was going to mount a win and sponsor of the race, coming home P3.
Jonathan, Jonathan
Oh,
Mazzella, my man, welcome to the booth this night. Tonight's main sponsor for the Streets Closed Pizza Boy 125. Able to represent nice tonight. We see you bringing home a solid P3 after a pretty chaotic race. What was your view on it, my man?
man, I was trying to close the streets for all them pizza boys, man, but I couldn't get it done. It was a chaotic race. We had a minute and a half of damage at one point, and then 40 more seconds of damage when we pit. So I'm happy to finish third in that chaos.
Oh, well, that's good to hear. Like you said, it was very chaotic. We saw a lot of cautions early in the race. Sounds like you were affected by it. At least one of them, unfortunately. But, I mean, great recovery, my man. It's, you know, sometimes it works out better for others. Obviously, we saw Nathaniel Landwehr unfortunately making a very big mistake late in the race. What were your thoughts on that? I don't know if you knew what happened late in the race before the caution came out, but what was going through your mind when you saw him not in the lead?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to only get a little bit of damage and remain competitive there. But then, he's my teammate, so he said he sped. So I knew it was between me and Lilith at the end there. And that 40 laps we were agreeing before that last caution was the most adrenaline packed, trying to get through the field and swerve through all those cars. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we saw you guys trying to dip and dodge and weave between traffic. It was honestly probably one of the better parts of the season so far. Watching you guys just go through traffic like that, it almost looked like multi-class endurance racing with the lap cars there.
Yes.
So
Yes. I hate
yeah,
how many people had damage, but it made for a lot of fun. So
yeah.
it was a good race.
Hey, that's what I was going to ask was, I know you sponsored the race at Dover. Was there a reason that you picked Dover? And what was the reason that you wanted to sponsor this race over all of them? And how fun was that, driving through the
My
field
my
with the
my
lappers?
three favorite tracks are Kansas, Dover, or Darlington. So I might get Darlington too. Sponsor it, because those are my three favorite tracks. So yeah, that was part of it.
Well, the finishers are good for the races that you sponsor so far, so maybe that's your good luck charm.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
was
was a
gonna
lot of
say.
fun. That race was. I think we should go ahead and just start half the field with damage next time, or maybe throw them in the trucks, because
Maybe.
that multi-class racing was a lot of fun.
That's
Yeah, I was
not a
gonna
bad
say it
idea.
almost.
Maybe we can talk to Randy about a special event doing
Hey,
that.
we thought
Yeah.
about doing a A class and B class kind of merge on Wednesday nights, but I don't think it got any
Maybe.
traction.
Ah,
Maybe a
well,
special
we'll
event.
say
I got an
this.
idea.
While we
Yeah.
are here, unfortunately, it does look like Darlington is reserved already um, by fellow wheelman Kevin Ritchie. So, yeah, you might have to talk to him about that one. Obviously, I see you already have Kansas, so I don't know. Maybe we'll see you do good at Kansas,
Yeah.
and maybe Darlington we'll see you out there too. So, congratulations again on the P3. Thank you again for sponsoring the race. It's always nice to see people show support for the series and for each race. So, yeah, looking forward to see what else you got for the rest of the season. And before we let you go, obviously, we always do this. Go ahead and get any shoutouts in you got, my man.
I appreciate you too. I love watching the video tomorrow. It's always fun. Y'all do a great job. So I really do appreciate y'all in the league and all our friends that come and race with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan, and we will be seeing you next week, and hopefully be talking to you after Tuesday night.
Appreciate it. Eat more pizza.
There's Jonathan there, P3 finisher. But Alex, Dover, one of the racetracks, especially in iRacing, you come to, and you don't really think much of it. You're just, well, it's another racetrack. And tonight, it was not. It put on one of the best shows that I have ever seen racing, from first to 10th to 15th to the lappers even battling and having their fun. What a race.
Yeah, man, what a surprise. I mean, like you said, you never think Dover of all places. I mean, I drove it before we even started the race, and I told you it didn't really feel amazing to drive. I knew it was going to be a little tricky for a lot of guys, but clearly these guys proved us both wrong and put on a good show for that really long green flag run we had, and even for the finish. A lot of great racing. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of damage to a bunch of cars, but that's Dover for you. It's not really super surprising to see. So, yeah, I think we can walk away from this one pretty happy with how the race went. So, yeah, nice to see that Dover put on a show.
And it put on one heck of a show. And I think, depending on the package, I haven't seen many races in the Xfinity car at Indy next week, but or in iRacing, of course. But Indy has the opportunity to be just as good as this, especially with the drivers that we have in this field. So I'm excited to go to Indy next week, which I don't know how many people say. So with that being said, next week we will see you guys at Indy. Same time, same everything. Alex, you going to be in the booth or are you going to race it?
I don't know, man. You know, I know I was debating it a lot tonight, but I think after tonight, I'll stick to being in the booth. It's always a good time up here. So,
Funner watching, less stressful.
as much as I would, yeah, I was gonna say a lot less stressful, especially after tonight. But always fun to be up in the booth. You know, it's been a great, season and a half already that we've been able to work together. So, yeah, we'll keep ourselves up in the booth here. It's a lot less stressful. Plus, we'll worry about other leagues instead of this one to race anyways. We'll actually get to go do some racing soon. So. Yeah, we'll continue this up here in the booth, for sure.
Definitely. Well, that is going to do it for the Streets Closed Pizza Boy 125 at Dover. Congratulations to Lilith Peters on getting the win, and we will see you guys next week.